good morning, and welcome back to another episode of the Kohrs Show. Today's Monday, March the 17th. The old luck of the Irish, folks. Hopefully the Irish are a bit lucky today. Hoping for a green day. I really am. Right now, I believe things are setting up in a nice way where I don't think we're going to get like an absurdly large green candle. But I would say right now, the highest probability pathway from this moment till the end of the day is truly favoring the bulls. So I'm going to be going over that. We're going to be breaking down what in the world is going on in the overall market, some of the news from the weekend, some just general geopolitical drama. Then we have a little bit of market talk, and I want to set you up for what to pay attention to for the remainder of the week, not only today. And then we're going to get into some of the nerdy stats, facts, and figures related to the options market and interesting changes that we're seeing not only for the overall market, as in the S&P 500, but also some interesting option structural changes in the world of volatility. So I want to get into all of that. Of course, as we normally do, I'll give you my core levels, my resistance levels, my support levels, and then hopefully at that point, the market goes dingity ding, 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 and we catch a beautiful, beautiful trade. So I hope everyone had a phenomenal weekend. I hope whatever you got up to, you had fun, you were safe, and if you weren't safe, I hope all the degeneracy was worth it. So I hope you got a little bit of rest, a little bit of relaxation, and if you didn't, maybe you're just going to be absurdly lucky and make a shitload of money anyway today. So I hope that sounds good. I hope you guys are crushing it. I hope you are ready to crush it even more, going like from crushing it level 9 to maybe up to a 10. That would be awesome. So that's the plan. I hope you had a good weekend. Happy to be back on the horse. Happy to be back in the saddle. And we'll see what the world's largest casino truly ends up bringing us today. So I know you guys are here at the butt crack of dawn. So the fact that you're up so early, thank you. I appreciate that. And with that being said, let's get this switched over. You can see early morning SPY. We had the retail sales report come out at 8:30. Obviously, the market reacted pretty well to it because we quickly had a slingshot situation all the way up to the high from Friday's trading session. Same thing in the NASDAQ. Obviously, I already see in chat a lot of you guys are excited about certain names such as Palantir, which gained a beautiful 8% on Friday, up an additional 3% this morning. Looking at MSTR gaining 13%, giving a little bit back. You have Tesla giving a little bit back. Nvidia's looking really good. Broadcom actually randomly just got hit. We'll have to look into what's going on there. Netflix, a bit of a recovery. Meta, a bit of a recovery. Microsoft, Apple. Okay, so there's a couple things that maybe aren't as strong as you'd like them to be. But we're definitely seeing overall, as of now, the bulls are in control. So let's get into why. Let's get into what in the world's going on. Stock futures fall after Dow posts worst week since 2023. The intern did not update that in time because we actually popped off that retail sales report once again coming out in excess of 30 minutes ago. The S&P 500 futures are flat as benchmark tries to continue comeback from a correction. So looking at this, the overall tone is clearly bullish. Actually, let me update that really quickly. I like to mark out the pre-market, or really the post-market to the pre-market, basically last night at 6 p.m. when the futures market opened until now. I like to know where the highs and the lows are just to see if we take that out right at market open. But anyway, the 5-minute, the 10-minute, the 30-minute are all bullish. Nice bullish momentum. The 4-hour still a bit bearish, but maybe testing this 50 EMA pretty soon. Same thing in the NASDAQ, bullish. And even this, the 4-hour almost had a little bit of a breakout right here. So in the shortest of time frames, the 5, the 10, the 30, for the S&P 500 and for the NASDAQ, price momentum is bullish as of now, but obviously let's kind of wait for market open, and let's also see what the option flow is going to be bringing us today. Over the weekend, some wild things went down. Trump administration deports alleged gang members despite judge's order. The White House says it followed court's written ruling. Judge verbally instructed planes en route to turn around. And basically, we sent, they're calling it alleged gang members they're out. They're out of the country. And I guess there was a judge. I was trying to follow the full story. There was a judge saying, hey, you can't do that. But they were already over international waters. And the argument was like, actually, it doesn't matter because we're over international waters. So what a federal judge in the U.S. is ruling doesn't really apply here. The Trump administration deported alleged Venezuelan gang members despite a court order temporarily blocking the move, citing a centuries-old wartime law. The administration plans to continue deporting migrants it deems a threat to the U.S. on other legal grounds. The alien Alien Enemies Act, invoked by Trump, allows the president during wartime to deport citizens of countries considered an enemy of the U.S. without a hearing. So that was some drama over the weekend, but of course it did not stop there. Trump calls Biden's pardons void because of auto pen usage. I know we covered this quite a bit when it was all happening, but basically when Biden was in his final couple days there, he was giving out pardons to everyone. His family, specifically his son, Fauci, many other people who's given out pardons willy-nilly. And Trump is actually officially saying, no, it's not because of actually, I'll let you read directly what he said. The quote-unquote pardons that Sleepy Joe Biden gave to the unselect committee of political thugs and many others are hereby declared void, vacant, and of no further force or effect. For those of you who are just listening to me, that last thing, all in capitals, I think it kind of drives home the point, because of the fact that they were done by AutoPen. In other words, Joe Biden did not sign them, but more importantly, he did not know anything about them. The necessary pardoning documents were not explained to or approved by Biden. He knew nothing about them, and the people that may have committed a crime. Therefore, those on the unselect committee who destroyed and deleted all evidence obtained during their 2-year witch hunt of me and many other innocent people should fully understand that they are subject to investigation at the highest level. The fact is, they were probably responsible for the documents that were signed on their behalf without the knowledge or consent of the worst president in the history of our country, crooked Joe Biden. Folks, this might surprise you, but I'm no lawyer. I'm no legal scholar. I don't know if this is actually true or not. I don't know if it would stand up. I don't know how it works. I kind of thought when a president does a pardon, that's the end of it. I've never necessarily heard of a pardon being undone by the next president. I don't know if this auto pen thing really does have legal merit, if it doesn't have legal merit. So I don't know if this is just the current president popping off on Truth Social in the world of the internet to give someone and all of us something to talk about, or if there really is a legal bearing here. I'm out of my depths on this one. I have no idea. Maybe someone in chat here does know actually the law of like, hey, can pardons be undone? I don't know. Maybe it's real. Maybe it's not real. I just wanted to cover this particular narrative because I don't know if it's going to be a bigger one. It would be wild if the pardons become like unwound or are just, I guess, like erased. I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. So I just wanted to cover it in case it becomes a really big story that we all have to learn a little bit about. But like I said, this is surprising to no one. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how this has legal merit, but obviously I wanted to share it with all of you. And clearly we are not stopping there. Trump says he'll speak with Putin tomorrow, Tuesday, on Ukraine truce push. So this actually might be something directly in the market that if they talk, if they both report that they had a great conversation, this in the short term, obviously tomorrow, could actually really elevate things and kind of back up my current thesis that we're at the start of basically a dead cat bounce. So this is what Trump recently had to say. Let me make sure the audio is on here.
We're doing pretty well, I think, with Russia. And we'll see if we have something to announce maybe by Tuesday. I'll be speaking to President Putin on Tuesday. And a lot of work's been done over the weekend. We want to see if we can bring that war to an end. Maybe we can, maybe we can't, but I think we have a very good chance.
What sort of concessions will you be seeking to have Putin make to get a deal done?
Well, I think we'll, be talking about land. It's a lot of land. It's a lot different than it was before the wars, And we'll be talking about land. We'll be talking about power plants. Because that's up, it's a big question. But I think we have a lot of it already discussed very much by both sides.
You'll ask him.
Ukraine and Russia.
You'll ask him.
We're already talking about that, dividing up certain assets. Yeah, and they've been working on that.
What do we know about this call?
All right, we could pause it there. We know for weeks now the Trump team and the Putin team have been talking. There's been various talks from both sides. Day over day, It seems like all parties are coming to the table, kicking and screaming, but it does seem as if some sort of positive steps are being made to actually come to a ceasefire. So I wanted to put that out there because obviously we've been even seeing it in real time that when there's a positive or negative update, there's a clear direct impact in the short term on the market. So I just want to put this one on everyone's radar because tomorrow, whether good or bad news, obviously we could have a bullish or a bearish reaction. So that's just another thing that obviously have your notifications on for whatever your favorite news source is, because we are very much in an environment, a market environment, where you got to be on your toes because random statements, updates, commentary can have a clear, decisive impact and can completely change momentum. So this is another one where I would say the way it's being presented right now does seem to favor the bulls a little bit more than the bears, but you can't say that type of stuff with certainty because you don't know if the talks are going to completely dissolve. So that's just another thing I wanted to put on everyone's radar. And don't forget, there's other major things this week. So early this morning around 8:30, exactly at 8:30, we got the retail sales report, and you could say it came in less than expected. The fact that retail sales came in less than expected, you might be looking at this and saying, hang on, if they were expecting 0.6 and we came in at 0.2, it's red. Why is that bullish? Why did we pop on that? Well, remember, we're still battling inflation. The entire goal right now of the Fed and monetary policy and that whole shebang is to bring inflation down. So if retail sales are taking a bit of a hit, it is somewhat going to be correlated with the concept of is inflation properly trending down to where we need it to be, which theoretically should make the job for the Fed easier. And we're going to be finding out about the Fed and their thoughts on their job this Wednesday, March the 19th at 2 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be getting the Federal Open Market Committee statement, as in the interest rate decision, where we pretty much know we're not going to get a rate cut. Right here, March 19th, there is a 99% chance we stay at 4.25%. Right here, 4.25, where the Fed fund rate is currently at 4.25. The market is 99% sure that we are not getting a rate cut this time around. And in fact, it looks like we're not even getting one next time around. On May 7th, there's a 76% chance that we stay at 4.25%. And in reality, the first legitimate jump in the odds of a rate cut comes in the June meeting. Once again, June 18th. So not this meeting, not the next meeting, but the third meeting from now. There's about a 30% chance that we stay, but obviously there's about a 70% chance we get some sort of rate cut by that June meeting. So coming into Wednesday, no one should be surprised when we don't get a rate cut. It doesn't take that big of a prediction. You could just come to this. This is a free website, cmegroup.com. You can see exactly what's going on in the market and what the bets are going to be for the interest rates. And as of right now, unless pandemonium really breaks out between now and Wednesday, there is a 99% shot that there's going to be no change to the Fed fund rate. They're not going to be jacking it up. They're not going to be bringing it down. There's a 99% chance we are just going to be kind of in the Goldilocks situation of just going sideways. So obviously, that is going to be a big event on Wednesday. And really, I'll explain more of this when we are there on Wednesday. But what you need to know on Wednesday is it's basically 3 different trading sessions. It's from market open till 2 to 2:30, and then 3:30 to market close. That's pretty much how you could treat these FOMC days because of just how much volatility and big ranges we're going to see in those 3 different sections. But the thing that's really going to get the market moving, whether to the upside or the downside, is going to be Jerome Powell's press conference that happens at 2:30 on the same day. So the interest rate decision is announced and it's publicized at 2 p.m. And then 30 minutes later, Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Fed, aka Daddy Powell, will be speaking at 2:30. And then we get the normal initial jobless claims on Thursday. So that's like all the scheduled stuff on top of the new news that we just got about Putin and Trump, and maybe we get a little bit of ceasefire talk. But taking a step back, you got to remember where we've been, and let me just graphically show you that we hit a new all-time high on Wednesday, February the 19th, and then as of Thursday of last week, all the way down here, we were officially in a correction territory. Remember, a correction territory is actually defined by a 10% drop, and at one point we were down 10.36. We closed the day out just below 10. And then since then on Friday, we had a little bit of a bounce. And I'm pretty sure I put this out on my Twitter. Where is my Twitter? Let me double check. My thoughts are basically right here, that we are in a little bit of a dead cat. I do believe, and I'll get into the exact reasons why I believe this, but it comes back to what we're seeing in the options market. I believe we have about a 3 to 4 day breather. I think the end of this week and next week has that chance of being absolutely brutal. And then in April, I'm going to be very, very bullish. That is how I currently see the movement in the overall market, as in the S&P 500 with respect to that option structure, and also paying attention to what we're seeing in volatility. So in the short term, yes, I know there's a lot going on, but you have to kind of have a better appreciation for where we've been, where we're currently been, and where we might be going. But I am looking for a little bit of a momentary bounce that then gets sold off. And I think that the next bottom is going to be that true dip buying opportunity. I just want to be very forthcoming about my thoughts and where I see the market going. It might be right, it might be wrong, but I view that as the highest probability pathway. Now, remember, we don't always hit the highest probability pathway. Just because something is very, very high odds, obviously that doesn't mean it's a guarantee. But right now, I truly believe the highest probability is something more like this, heading. Basically, I'm looking for this dip to occur late March, early April, and then I'm expecting April to be a lights out bullish month. And then anything past April, something like May, we're going to have to wait to see what the option structure is like setting up for there. So this is my high probability base case, but obviously this is not a guarantee or anything like that, because remember, there's a lot of crazy things going on. Trump's trade war tips the world to slower growth and faster inflation. More specifically, the U.S. and global economic outlooks cut by the OECD as Trump's trade tariffs weigh on growth. The global growth is expected to slow from 3.2% in 2024 to 3.1% in 2025 and 3% in 2026. So 3.2, 3.1, 3%, obviously trending the wrong way. And previously forecasted 3.3% in global economic growth this year and next. Obviously not so good. The U.S. annual GDP growth is also projected to fall to 2.2% in 2025 and 1.6% in 2026, down from the earlier forecast of 2.4 and 2.1 respectively. Also, not a trend you want to be seeing. A series of recently announced trade policy measures will have implications for the economic outlook if sustained. And they're kind of just saying it there, but the operative part of all this is if sustained. Remember, we're all kind of awkwardly waiting around for April 2nd, the day after April Fool's Day, where we're finding out if we're actually going to have reciprocal tariffs. And even if we do, are they going to last for a day? Are they going to last for a week? It sounds like obviously there's a lot of other parties involved. It's not just Trump's decision. Well, of course it is his decision, but his decision is going to be based off of the actions and the reactions of some of our favorite trade partners, such as Canada, Mexico, China, and the EU. So with it, we're going to be finding out. There's obviously quite a bit of uncertainty in the system. If you watched the update video yesterday, I said the word uncertainty a gazillion times, but right now that's what's going on in the market. So with how things have played out, I truly do believe that was quite a bit of uncertainty. I am looking for a reasonable reversion back up. I think that one is going to be the trap. That was pretty much my main messaging in last night's update video of I think any bullishness we see here is once again a giant trap. I do believe there's another sell-off based on the current positioning of what in the world is going on. But in the long term, as an investor, I still don't think there's anything to be worried about. Obviously, right now, I'm saying in the very short term, couple days, I'm bullish. In the medium term, a bit more bearish. And then in the long term, when we're talking about 10, 20, 30 years worth of investing, yeah, it always pays to be a bull. The Treasury Secretary is not worried about the market, calls corrections healthy. Kind of true, but how painful is the correction going to be? The Treasury Secretary says the White House is heading off a guaranteed financial crisis. So the overall sentiment is, hey, we're kind of doing some crazy stuff right now, and we know it's going to be painful, but it's going to be less painful in the long run if we do this rather than what would be coming if we just sat around and did nothing. So maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. The Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said Sunday that the Trump administration is focused on preventing a financial crisis that could be the result of massive government spending over the past few years. What I could guarantee is we would have had a financial crisis. Basically, we are on an unsustainable path, which we've been hearing that rhetoric quite a bit for years now. I've studied it, I've taught it, and if we've kept up with these spending levels, everything was unsustainable. We are resetting and we are putting things on a sustainable path. I know the metaphor I basically always use is sometimes you have to take some very painful medicine to really fix an overall worse disease. least. That's kind of the sentiment that is being pitched. Now, obviously, the fact that we're all in this country, we're all members of the globe, at least I think we're all on the globe. I hope they pull it off. I'm obviously not going to be rooting against it because that would be negatively impacting all of us. So obviously my well wishes, I want them to pull this off. I don't want us to all get our teeth kicked in financially, potentially literally. So we'll see, but we are on an absolute wild roller coaster at this moment. Now, a lot of these things we spoke about, we do put these in the newsletter. This is 100% free, always has been, always will be, comes to your email inbox every single weekend. But this one, obviously, we have a little bit of a leprechaun Piper situation, and maybe she will bring us the luck of the Irish this week. Last week, not so much. Pretty red across the board. The S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the Russell, and Bitcoin all putting in a bearish week. Our earnings are really slowing down. There's a couple you might want to pay attention to. On Thursday, we have Nike and FedEx, a little bit of NEO, but it's just, we're not really in earnings season at the moment. We already got retail sales today. There's nothing else scheduled today, but obviously we should be paying attention to any updates related to tariffs and any updates related to Russia and Ukraine. That would be the other news that's not necessarily scheduled, but I could see it directly today having a pretty large impact. Obviously, Wednesday's the big day of the week with the FOMC meeting, and then Friday we're going to have quadruple witching. I should also remind you on Wednesday, it's not just the FOMC meeting, but that's also when volatility contracts expire. We are in a big roll week. So if you happen to be trading on something like Apex or with your futures accounts, you actually might have to roll to the June contract. I just want to call that out to everyone. This is the big roll week. Now, if you choose to do it today, tomorrow, whatever, that's up to you. But at some point this week, ideally before Thursday, you do go to the next actual proper contract month. And that's exactly what you're going to see in quadruple witchings, which once again, that is technically going down this Friday. With respect to seasonality, today, Monday, the bulls over the past 27 years have won it 63% of the time. But I do want to point out that in recent history, over the past 7-ish years, it's been more so favored by the bears. So for quite a while, there was a good 2-decade run where the bulls were clearly dominant. But in more recent history, the bears have gained a bit of dominance. So I just wanted to call that out. And I would say that they kind of, I don't know, it was so long bullish and now it's recently bearish. So I would say the bias is a bit neutral, which doesn't mean today's necessarily going to be a choppy day. Of course, it could be a choppy day, but I'm just saying for me today in my own trades, I'm not really taking seasonality into account is how I'd be looking at it. Tomorrow is absurdly bullish the bulls have won it 67% of the time over the better part of the past 3 decades with a crazy high profit factor of 7. Tomorrow is a very, very bullish day. Once again, tomorrow, Wednesday, a bit more neutral, and then Thursday, leaning bullish, and then Friday, a bit more neutral. So the days that clearly have a bias this week do favor the bulls, but most of the days this week are actually just some are bullish, some are bearish, so it just ends up netting out to more of a neutral situation. Remember, that information and a lot of this other stuff, if you want to join up with the Goonie Trading Discord, you should. The first month is free. Make sure you use that promo code Goonie. You get access to my trades, the Piper Signal, other people's trades, private lectures, good discussions in the morning throughout the trading day. Obviously, I update you on my 0DT trades. I update you on my swing trades. So I put my money where my mouth is. That's exactly why the first month is free. Feel free to check that all out. The promo code is Goonie to get that first month for free. And you might be thinking, is it worth it? Well, let's see how things have been going in the swing account. All these things are posted in real time. In the past week, I guess we just started. The past month, up 164,000. Past 3 months, 173. And year to date, 165. So all these trades, basically swing option trades, are being called out in real time. So if that is of any interest to you, check it out. I'm just kind of showing you the real-time stats. So I think it's worth it, especially when your first month is free. But hey, that is my personal opinion on the matter. Bringing it back to today, couple things I want to talk about. How much time do I have? Perfect. 5 minutes. So on the screen now, feel free to screenshot this. Feel free to do whatever. But these are the key levels I will personally be paying attention to. So as always, I mark out the previous trading sessions high, low, and close. So that is the red, the green, the red, and the white respectively. That is the last trading sessions high, low, and close. All of those are going to be pivotal levels in the next trading session, i.e. today. Beyond that, I have these yellow horizontal lines, which are all the key option levels. So there's a couple of things I want to call out here. And first of all, Captain Condor is back. We can see Captain Condor has a call credit spread up here at 5,680 and a put credit spread down here at 5,580. So there's a 100-point differential between the call credit spread and the put credit spread. So that's the first thing that jumped out to me right here. 5,680 and 5,580. That is Captain Condor back in style. And the fact that Captain Condor has come back really actually does get me to believe that I think vol is going to be falling more. Obviously, we know with Captain Condor, it's going to be benefiting off of a lack of huge moves. So the fact that Captain Condor is confident, and what was the size of that particular play? It was around 4.7. So it's not as crazy as the last time we saw Captain Condor slinging like 30,000 contracts, but they are back to play with once again. Basically, if you don't know what a iron condor position is, this player who's, like I said, about 4.75 thousand contracts, they are betting on the market concluding somewhere in between these bounds, basically below 5,680 and above 5,580, which I know that's a large range, but the fact that they're returning at all tells me that they're probably expecting vol to collapse a little bit more. So we have the high, the low, and the close of yesterday, or excuse me, of last trading session Friday, and then we have Captain Condor at 5,680 and 5,580, and then the other key option levels of the day where we just see a lot of open interest, very easy to remember: 5,700, 5,650, and 5,600 flat. It's basically just all these 50 point increments, key psychological levels. And because they're key psychological levels, people choose to play them. And because they choose to play them with higher open interest, we're going to see larger gamma impacts there. Then it becomes very quickly a self-fulfilling prophecy of the key psychological levels becoming key technical levels. And it's all because of their key option levels. So it's all kind of rolled into one. But these are the major things I'll be paying attention to. What I would personally like to see today, and obviously coming into this, bullish, 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 bullish. My base case out of the gate, and we are scheduled to open roughly around where? About 5,632, 5,632. So we're scheduled to open roughly where my cursor is. What I would like to see is an initial push and a takeout of all this junk in here. Between 5,638 and 5,640, this is going to be resistance. If we were to open right now, we would be opening right below it. So I'm looking for a push and a hold here. Obviously, I would love for calls to be purchased. I would love for puts to be sold. That will really push the overall delta up higher. And if that happens and we could create a nice base, I think my main trade of the day would be this: a push after we create a base up to 5,680. Of course, it might go more. It might not go as much. But in terms of what I'm seeing in the market, I would like this base to get created. We kind of establish it here. We bounce off of it. And then we basically push all the way up to test the first side, or really the first leg of the call credit side of this overall condor position. That's kind of my base plan coming out of the gate. Obviously, I think it has high probability right now, but I'm not going to be trading on it until I see what's actually happening in the options market. Right now, we can see for the first time in a while that the gamma is actually positive. We can see that the 0DT option chain for the first time in a while is call dominated. So it's positive gamma, call dominated. That is a big change of trend that we've seen now for the past couple weeks, which makes me think, okay, the bears overall on the full chain are still in control, but they're losing their strength as the bulls are gaining some strength. And then when I start to pair that together with what we're kind of seeing in the world of volatility basically, the out of the money calls are kind of calming down, which makes me think we actually might have a little bit of a breather in volatility, aka bullish for the overall market in the first part of this week. But that, as of now, is standing true up until about Wednesday or Thursday, and then Friday is completely different. So obviously, as the options market updates, I'll let you know where the big players are at. But as of right now, before the market opens, this is my base case situation. I believe it's the highest probability situation, but we're going to have to wait for a little bit of confirmation before things really get going. And on that note, let me make sure that I have everything where it should be. It sounds like a lot of people are stoked about Palantir right now, so I'll put up Palantir. NVIDIA was also having a good day. Let me get that all set up. And I also just want to show you, I have not traded anything yet. Right here, here's all my accounts. No trades whatsoever. I have my 5 take profit. I have my 20 Apex, just nothing going on yet, completely flat. And I'll be ideally looking for that one perfect opportunity. With all that being said, dingity ding ding ding, the world's largest casino is now open. Best of luck to all. Play responsibly, and if not, have fun. Remember, you can't take it with you when you go. You cannot take it with you when you go. So here's the plan. As I normally do, I'm going to wait those first 5, 10, 20 minutes, see if I can see the actual trend being established. And I would feel much more comfortable if the trend is being established in already my preconceived bias of the day based on what I saw for the option structure before the market opened today. My life would be far, 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 far easier if we break in the way that I'm already anticipating breaking, because I'd have a lot more confidence. And if all of a sudden we have a switcheroo, well, maybe I end up not trading. Maybe I just do a little scalp trade, and maybe there just isn't that good of an opportunity today. As of right now, as the market opened, the Mag 7 is taking a bit of a hit, but the SPY is actually picking up. You know what? Let's just do one of these today, and we could kind of bounce around. Yeah, Mag 7, maybe a little bit of profit taking, but the SPY is actually showing some strength right here. I'm like, obviously we're only a minute into the day, so this isn't enough data for me to do anything. I know some people like to trade right out of the gate. It's just not my style. I don't think there's much of an advantage of trading right out of the gate. I think if you can be calm, cool, collected, wait to see what kind of ranges are being built, wait to see the price momentum, the price action, and on top of it, the options flow. When you start pairing those things together, I think you can be on the higher probability side of, are you playing the right trend or not, rather than just guessing. For example, if it opened and you saw red, you're like, well, we're opening below the close of Friday, and my first instinct is red. Well, right away in minute 2, you just got completely railroaded. So I think it's because of little things like that I just find it for me. And hey, maybe you have a market open trading strategy and you're net profitable in the long run. Don't let me stop you. But for me in my own trading, I have found that it's pretty much a 50-50 game, and I would rather do something that I have a perception of more gains rather than just like flipping a coin. So as we're waiting for this to open, the market to open and see what these trends are, very quickly, a shout out to Public. Public is the partner of today's show. It's the place where I trade options. It was this account that I just showed you right here. And the reason let me go to the right website, public.com. The reason I use this is because it's the only one that gives you a rebate. I know of no other brokerage on this planet that when you trade options, you get paid a rebate. So it is free to download. It is free to sign up. There are no commission fees. There are no per contract fees, which is all great. And I know that's kind of par for the course, especially for retail brokerages right now. But what sets Public apart is the fact that they give you a rebate. Every single time you buy and sell a call, you're getting a rebate. Every time you buy and sell a put, you're getting a rebate. On top of that, when you're trading equities, they don't engage in payment for order flow. They allow you to trade bonds. In fact, they have some of the best UI and UX in the entire game for retail traders to trade bonds. Of course, they have crypto trading. They have retirement accounts. They have high yield accounts. This is a one-stop shop. This is exactly all of the reasons of why Public is my favorite brokerage, and it's exactly why I have $250,000 with them, is because I trust them the most. And on top of it, just from a pure, logic standpoint, if you're an options trader or an aspiring options trader, you're going to be better off with them, because no matter where you are in your trading, whether profitable or not profitable, at least you're getting the rebate. So on a relative basis, you're going to be better off. So because of that, highly recommend you guys check it out. There is a tier system to their rebates and how much money you earn per option trade. So if you want to start off at a higher tier, I highly recommend you using the link pinned to the top of chat and in the description of the video. Once again, you're going to start off at a higher rebate tier by using that link. So shout out to Public. We've been partnered up with them for a while, and it's for a good reason. It's because I find them to be the most trustworthy brokerage in the entire retail space. I truly believe you're going to like them, think that you're going to like them as much as I do. Worthwhile shot. Check it out. Pinned to the top of chat in the description of the video. Obviously, a specialty shout out to Public. And it's on that note that SPY and the Qs took out not only the closing value, but the high value from Friday's trading session. And remember, we know those stats. As soon as you take out the high from the previous trading session, especially with respect to the SPY, these are stats from Edgeful. There is a 77% chance that we now close above 562.81. I know that is very close, and we were just there. But the fact that we took out the high value, there is a 77% chance that, I don't know if it's going to be to the tune of a cent or maybe multiple dollars, but there is a 77% chance that we close somewhere above 562.81 and above 479.66, obviously with respect to the SPY and the Qs here. Once again, very, very high odds now, because both of them took it out, that we close above these values. And hang on, let me clean up this chart a little bit. We are right at my first target, which I kind of told you was almost like a perfect trade setup in reality of, I know we opened here, we took out the closing value, we took out the high value, and now we are battling it out at a key options level. This is exactly what I was pitching to you as the trade situation that I personally wanted. I want to see a foundation be built here, and then I want to see a pop and a rip all the way up to 5,680, which would be the test of the call side of the Captain Condor situation. First time that Captain Condor is back in a while, and this all seems to be happening as VIX is getting hit. Volatility is dropping. What does that actually mean across the board? Let's check in on the Mag 7. The Mag 7 is actually getting hit. Interesting. So the Mag 7 is they started selling their calls on the Mag 7 for this Friday at 9:31, and then it went flat. And then more recently, around 9:34, people started buying puts for this Friday. But once again, with the Mag 7, when you're looking at the next expiration, Mag 7s don't have zero DTs unless you're talking about a Friday. So right now, since it's a Monday, all this stuff, the closest expiration is actually for this Friday. I want to remind everyone about that. A little bit different when you come to the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 because they do have zero DTEs. But as you can see, the NASDAQ was fine, just got hit, and then got hit again, and then just got hit. But looking at the S&P 500, completely different. So we're getting a little bit of mixed information. We're seeing a bit of a lack of optimism in the tech sector, if you will, but the overall market looking very strong. The 5-minute, the 10-minute, the 30-minute bullish, the 5-minute, the 10-minute, the 30-minute bullish. And I also want to point out that the NASDAQ actually might be having a nice legitimate breakout right there. Looks like we have a potential trend line break on the NASDAQ. What do we have here? VIX is collapsing. The SPY is up 0.45. The Qs are up 0.5. I just see the VIX continuing to come down. Let me know if it drops below 21, and definitely let me know if it drops below 20. That could be interesting. Palantir having a nice gain. Tesla in the red, actually, oddly enough, losing 3%. But then Nvidia is a bit green. You have Netflix a bit green. Actually, Netflix is nicely green, up 3%. Meta slightly green. MSTR slightly red. Microsoft and Apple both slightly green. More green on the board than anything else, but it's not like a perfect day, I would say. We definitely do see a little bit of weakness here and there. So that's the setup thus far. Everything is kind of playing out how I thought it would. I hope it doesn't just rip without a retest. I kind of need a retest for me to get in my position. But hey, if it just rips and goes without me, sometimes that's part of the game. I was refusing to get in here on this strength at 9:32. It's just a little bit early. But in all reality, since market open, excluding the first minute, every single minute bar has been green. So there really hasn't been much of an opportunity for me to punt a bullish today. If anything, I just need a little bit of a pullback because I just want to minimize my risk because, of course, there's always that probability you're wrong. So you only get into trouble when and that's why I'm like never really a fan of chasing, is generally if you're chasing, you're taking on the most risk possible. So I would rather a pullback. I would actually really like a pullback. Maybe do 56.50 right here, maybe a little bit of an overshoot. We create a nice higher low and we start to bounce off of that. And then we get to play it all the way up there. To me, that would be an A+ situation. Now, is the market going to give it to us? I have no idea. Your guess is going to be as good as mine. But that would be like truly an A+ type of a setup because there's so many things stacked in your favor. And then also you had the patience to wait for a bit of a pullback and you got into the trade with less risk. Just once again, if you're on the off chance of maybe you're getting the trend or the future price movement a little bit wrong. So everything is looking pretty nice. Bullish. We're looking at the flow. I kind of wish that the Mag 7 actually I was going to say I wish the Mag 7 picked up. It started picking up aggressively at 9:36. Looking at the NASDAQ, also not looking the best right now. And then the SPY turned. Hang on, we're getting some funky information, team. Pause. So the Mag 7 had an abrupt E-break turn right here. The market, the options market was bearish up until 9:36, and then it exploded bullish, and then almost in an inverse fashion, the S&P 500 was crazy bullish up until 9:37, and then just got smacked. So a little confusing. The options market is telling a bit more of a confusing story than price. Price itself is crazy strong right now. But just looking at price momentum, if you're exclusively trading on price, which I don't think is the way you should be doing this, but if you were just trading on price, you'd be like, hell yeah, this is very obviously bullish. And yes, the price movement right now is very obviously bullish. I don't disagree with that. But I am telling you that something weird is currently happening in options. People started to lock in their call profit at 9:36. Right here, the 0 DTE calls. People said thanks for the early morning tendies and said see you later. And then they also simultaneously started buying puts, but now the puts have gone flat. Interesting. And then on the Mag 7 is back to showing strength. The NASDAQ, people just started to buy calls here at 938. Little bit of a mixed story. But once again, that just means have patience. So not only should we have patience to minimize our risk and probably wait for a bitter pullback, but the fact that we're just seeing, I don't know, that's freaking me out. And like, I know it's like, if you just look at price, you're like, dude, this is absurdly strong. It's just higher highs, higher lows. And who knows, maybe I miss it. Maybe we just don't get really any pullback and we rip all the way up here and I miss that trade. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. If you expect yourself to take every single optimal trade in the market, you're going to be very frustrated because it's just impossible to hit every single trade. So if this one goes on without me, of course it's a bummer. It would have been a nice trade. It would have been an easy trade. I mean, looking at the market, we didn't have really any stop. I mean, if you just kind of arbitrarily punted long at any point in this, it never really went against you. It's just straight up and up and up. So it would have been kind of a low sweat trade for sure. Actually, I do want to change one thing here. I need to change this to 200. Save as template. Okay, I just want to update one of my order types. So that's trading. I mean, that would have been nice, but once again, you never know the future bar, especially like on the flip side. Imagine if you did chase it and you're like, well, hang on, I know I broke one rule because I bought at an intraday high, and then you also did that when options started to show like just some weird stuff. Now the Mag 7's still strong. The Nasdaq's trying to come back, but the SPY got hit, try to recover, not showing the most strength right now. So if the SPY can actually start to wake up, that actually might be exactly what I use for my own entry signal. If the SPY can turn this back around and just keep going now with the current trend of the Mag 7 and go with the new current trend of the NASDAQ. But I'm just looking here and I don't like this call selling, drop the delta. There was some put buying. Then we went flat, showing a little bit of strength. And I'm just wondering if we can get some follow through here. But man, it hasn't really had a breather. We took out the pre-market high. Actually, I should redraw that. Yeah, we took out the pre-market high on both. Actually, we might have a legit breakout right here on the NASDAQ. Right here, potential bottoming formation. We talked about that quite a bit. And then I even talked about these levels. Man, I kind of wish we had this push till 936 and then the pullback right away. But this was a pullback for ants. We had no pullback. It just like was the most baby of little red bars here, and then we just popped again. So I just didn't really see, for me, low risk opportunity to get in. But if you just white knuckled it through it, hey, congrats, you definitely deserve the money. But I just didn't really see a little bit of a market reprieve, or at least not the reprieve that I wanted. So patience. After, I don't know if you guys really saw it, but on Friday, so Monday to Thursday of last week with all these Apex accounts, every single one, every single day was a nice green day. On Friday, I took a hit. When I left you guys on stream, it was a 3.8K hit. By the end of the day, I was able to get back $600 or $800. So it ended up being like a 3K hit. I don't know the exact one. I put it up on Twitter. So I was able to get myself out of a little bit of the hole, but not as much as I wanted to. So I kind of want to be even more defensive than I've been today. And really the goal is just, I mean, I don't know if this is exactly how things are going to work, but it'd be nice for a couple days if I could just get in and out and just make $1,000 per account. Like, don't really swing for the fences or anything like that. Just get my 50 points in and out just till I like. It's really hard with these accounts because I don't consider them to be safe until you have about a 10,000 worth of buffer. So like the battle is, can you quickly get that buffer, or like, are you lucky enough to get that buffer at first? So really that's what I'm legitimately attempting to do. Is I consider none of these accounts to be safe whatsoever, or I really don't consider it that I could trade my own style until I have about a 10,000 buffer in each account. So when you first start it, that's obviously when you're at your highest risk. So I'm just kind of, I guess, hoping I'm a bit lucky, looking for those A+ type of setups just to try to get to that buffer. So my recent plan is, maybe for this week, maybe even for the first couple of days, maybe just 1,000, and like just kind of do like little positive incremental steps to get myself to that goal. That's kind of where my head's at. I just wanted to give you guys that update. So Friday was a red day, but the first week one last week, was a green week overall. So I'm seeing the SPY go, and I'm actually seeing maybe the Nasdaq's trying to turn around. Bullish. Maybe, are we going to get this pop all the way up? Like I said, that would be my main target. But do I see the opportunity to go long? Do I see the opportunity? Let's zoom in and let's hope I don't spill my coffee like I did last week. All right. I'm kind of watching this structure a little bit. Like I said, I didn't want to chase it to the upside. Chasing is where I get in trouble, and then I get tilted, and then I get mad at everything going on. Oh, is this enough? I mean, we have maybe a little bit of an EMA bounce here. I hope I have all these accounts properly hooked up. So if I do go long on this break, that's 35 with a risk of 15. So that's a 20-point risk. That's $400. I could take a $400 risk. That won't be the end of my life, a $400 risk. All right. We're taking a little bit of this bouncing right off the EMA. I'm looking at this recent low just to give it a breather. Remember, when I first do this, my risk is highest when I first put the trade on. And if I'm lucky enough that it breaks in my favor, that's when I start to move the risk up higher and higher and higher. So I would love for this to break and take out the intraday high, because then I can move my risk to either this recent low or break even. But for right now, I'm kind of tracking this low at 938. I thought we were getting a nice bounce right there, but clearly we are not at the moment. Where did my little trend line go? I got a little fake out here. Try to break the trend. Well, maybe I'll get lucky. Maybe I'll get lucky. What is that low? All right, we'll do. All right, I moved my risk up a little bit. I'm slightly underwater, but we're going to see how this goes. Like I said, with respect to how things played out on Friday, my goal, once again, just to kind of keep proving to myself that, yeah, okay, try to be like as good of a disciplined trader as you possibly can be. I think I want to not really. Ideally, I just get one trade and it gets $1,000 and then I move on with my life. Actually, I think I need to move this up to 97 because of commissions. Excuse me, 87. I just moved it up 1.5 points because of a little bit of just commission stuff. But it's kind of going against me. I was watching this little trend line break, and the first attempt was apparently a weak one. And now it's coming for me. Not the biggest fan of that. I was hoping for a very easy trading session this morning. I was trying to be patient, wait for that pullback. I saw that wick up, and then I thought I was going to get lucky again with this second attempt. But thus far, it's getting smacked. Maybe we need to do a little bit of a redraw here. Oh, how do I want to handle this? Do I like that as my actual risk point? I know we're at 20,000, which I'm hoping right now turns into support. I'm also very, very much hoping that this isn't one of those like little wick situations where it just barely wicks below, knocks me out, and then rips. All right, just knocked me out.
Order canceled.
Just took an $800 hit, but hey, you have to have your protection. It took out that recent low, and we did see a little bit of funkiness. All right, I guess we're just pulling back more. All right, so I took a stab at it. I waited for this first pullback, and then I wanted the overall trend to continue. Obviously, it did not. So here is where we are at. All right, I guess I'll just wait and see if well, of course, I'll be doing my sanity checks. But the SPY pulling back less, so the Q's taking a bit of a bigger hit. Is there something going on in the... Dude, the Mag 7 did take another big hit right here at 943. The last time I checked the Mag 7, I just saw this nice trend to the upside. I didn't realize it completely turned at 943. All right, that's a bit of a different story. Even same thing with the NASDAQ. And now even the SPY. All right, so yeah, no, options just broke against me. That's going to happen. This is exactly why you have your risk points. It would be silly for me to still be in the position seeing the current trend of all options. So I'm hoping that it can change. Maybe we are legitimately getting this retest of somewhere in this zone. Maybe we're going to be finding out pretty shortly here how bad that is. But as soon as we kind of took out this low here from 938, we just took it out. That was my risk point. That was 100% my risk point, and I don't mind it at all. That's just, I like the trade. It was a good setup. I saw options going up. I saw price momentum was strong. Overall, coming into today, my bias was bullish anyway. So I in no means mind that trade. I actually like that trade. It just didn't go my way. So it's going to happen. It's going to happen, and that's what you have your risk tolerance for, because if I just held it right now, I'd just be hoping. I'd be sitting there hoping like, oh, is it going to come back? And then you're just kind of sweating. So it's all good. All good. Took a shot. First one didn't pay. I actually really still like that trade setup. But for whatever reason, you can just see starting recently, the options market right there at, this is the Mag 7, 943, getting smoked. The NASDAQ starting at 942, getting smoked. And then the SPY, which was bullish, got smoked, try to recover. And then right here, oh, it's actually starting to pick up. Are we going to get this bounce right off of 50? Ooh, is that going to be the trade? Obviously, I'm watching a little bit of this trend line action. Maybe I should draw that a little bit better here. Maybe I should draw this a little bit better. Something like that. Yeah, right here. I was hoping it would catch itself at these EMAs and never take out that recent low, but it got cracked. Got cracked, and that's going to happen. It's going to happen. Are we quickly... That was a steep one. Even this. See, they took out these recent lows just to freak out people. Just sweep it. Push it a little bit lower. Knock them all out. And then it comes back anyway. A tale as old as time. A tale as old as time. 22. 22, one of my bots would be recommending a trade there at 22, 23-ish. Do I want to front run that? We'll see. We're going to see. Matt, can you talk about the huge BTC leverage short the person added this morning? What do you want me to say about it? Someone took a large leverage short position this morning. That's pretty much the whole story right there. Like, what else is there more to say? There's not much more to say beyond that. How is the flow looking right now? All right, the SPY. Oop, no, I did not want to do that. I accidentally exit out of the Mag 7. All right, we'll add that back in. Add tab, exit. All right, the Mag 7, let's go to the 30-second chart here. I like the 5-second better right now. Here's the Mag 7. Mag 7, bearish, then bullish, made a new delta high, then vomited all the way down to 950, trying to bounce a little bit right here. Looking at the NASDAQ, same thing, vomiting until about 950, showing a little bit of optimism now. And then looking at the SPY, vomiting till 950, maybe picking up. Might just be this perfect bounce. Shit, did I miss? Oh, I almost missed my entry. Well, I kind of already did, according to this. Well, not. I mean, the entry is roughly right around here. Do I want to take this trade? Yes, no, maybe so. Yes, no, maybe so. Yes, no, maybe so. Yes, no, maybe so.
Order submitted.
60. All right, so if I'm doing my math right, that's the most I can go for. Of course, that's not necessarily my target. If the trend breaks down earlier, I will get the hell out. Going to be risking this recent low, looking at this trend line break, but more important than the trend line break is what I'm seeing in options. So I saw that the SPY started to pick up there. The NASDAQ is also picking up, and the Mag 7 trying to pick up. So I'm hoping that this is the low of the day right here at 950, and we're not just putting in a lower high. Of course, we might be, but looking at this, I'm hoping A, B, C, this is the pullback, and then D going higher. So watching this trend line on the Qs, very much hoping it breaks and it's not rejected, but we're about to find out. We're about to find out if this is a real break or not. Obviously, well-defined risk at this recent low. You could do a measure target. You could take out the intraday high. That's kind of like up to you and your particular preference. I should do... Oh, what was I thinking? What is today? So this... All right. All right. I'm going to do, if you're in the Discord, I'm doing some swing trades right now that I'm going to be posting as quickly as I possibly can. All right. I just got into a new swing trade. Where is the swingers channel? All right. We just threw this bad mamma jamma in. All right. And then is there anything I want to do in the short time frame? What time is it? 9:55. It is 9:55. All right. What do I want to do here? Options, positions. Well, this is literally just not working at all for me, so that's cool. It's super, super cool when the app just doesn't want to work anymore. I'm always a big fan of that. Always a huge fan of my brokerages not working when I need them to work. Actually, no, this is just options analytics. All right, is this working? Okay, cool. Turns out I'm the problem. I just need... No, are we just putting in a lower high? Come on. No, a little fake out here. Come on. Not cool, dude. Not cool. I don't like that. A little fake out breakout on the Qs here, getting smacked. What's the options flow look like? SPY ran all the way up till 955, got smacked. The NASDAQ ran all the way up till 955, got smacked. And then the Mag 7 actually just going flat. So hopefully this is just a little fake out. And actually, if we can bounce off of this, then I can move my risk from 950 to this 956 low. But obviously, we'd have to take out 482.50. And I am still just looking for SPX to rip all the way up to 5680. Just looking for that. What do I want here? All right. Orders, modify. All right, cool. All right, good stuff. I just fired off one more trade. This is probably going to end up being more of a day trade. Once again, if you're in the Discord, I'm going to load this one in as soon as I can. And other than that, the die are in the air. I feel confident in my thesis on the day, but of course you still have to protect yourself. And where are we at? Okay, we're looking Gucci, team. We are looking Gucci. Just basically hoping we have A, B, C, D. I'm really liking this options level. I see that there's still quite a few people structured right there at 5680. So I believe I'm on the right side of price momentum. Bullish. And then in terms of trend, it does look like we have, well, at least on the SPY, it did make a fresh high there. So we do have higher highs and higher lows. The Qs are a little bit more questionable. Do they actually want to break or not? So the tech sector might be screwing me over a little bit. But I see vol is falling. The VIX is not picking up at all. So I'm liking it. But of course, just because you like things, and it might, even if it's an A+ setup, you could be dealt pocket aces. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win the hand. So I really like this setup right now. But what I don't get is the lack of excitement. Well, the Mag 7's picking up right here, but no one's seemingly told price. SPY just took a hit as we're heading into the change of the hour. Something just happened in the SPY. Someone bought 0 DTE puts right here at 958. What are we doing? They're buying puts right at the intraday. That kind of makes sense, because if they're wrong, the risk is probably just the intraday high. But if they're right, they get to ride it all the way back here. So in terms of risk reward, I get why they're doing it. Obviously, I hope they are wrong, but we're going to find out. We got some decent movement right up until about 952, and then we've just been flat. So we just kind of have to wait for this. I see vol is still pretty weak. What big movers we have? Palantir's up 2.6%. Tesla's down 2.5%. Nvidia slightly red. Broadcom slightly red. Netflix is having a good day, up 3.5%. Meta slightly green. MSTR is down 3%. Microsoft is slightly green. Apple is slightly green. Coin slightly green. ASML up 1%. RUM slightly green. Amazon slightly red, but trying to bounce there. DJT up 1.8%. Ripple's green. Solana's green. Texas Roadhouse slightly red. Bonds are trending up. Gold taking a breather after hitting an all-time high last week. Nothing else has really jumped. I mean, all I can tell you is that 952 price stopped doing anything, and we're just now kind of waiting to see whatever the next leg is going to be. Here's a look at the options flow. Bullish up until 936. Then it was bearish till 950. Then we popped and we've been going flat. So pretty much options flow is currently as flat and non-trending as prices itself. The NASDAQ pretty bearish up until about 950. Then we popped once again going sideways. And then the Mag 7, same thing. Pretty big drop until 950. Then we popped, but recently took a little bit of a hit at the change of the hour. But we're just not really seeing that much happen in price. Just not getting that nice follow through, man. Really just, I hate these days where it just doesn't happen. But hey, I mean, we do see the VIX kind of collapsing. It's just chilling at 21. Palantir trying to do its thing. We just got to wait. Here's what I'll do is I'll set up some intraday high tests just so we have the alert go off. Oh, all right. So intraday high, and then this isn't the intraday low, but obviously if this alert goes off, it would be a potential bearish reversal, which shit. The SPY was able to make a fresh high. What is this one? U.S. Housing Market Index, actual 39, forecast 42. Initial reaction to that news, not so good. Tech sector getting hit a little bit more. Bullish, 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 bullish. We're just not flowing nicely. No follow through on this. Oh, SPY started to turn right here at 958. But we haven't made a fresh point yet. The Q seemingly coming down to their high value from Friday. And then also the SPY is above the close and the high from Friday. So I'm not liking this pullback. It seems like the SPY double topped at a weird value of 5,670. There wasn't much options like position there. So I'm hoping that maybe this is a kind of a weird, just short-term cup oblong handle and we break through. We do have some reports coming out right now. What in the world are they? What in the world are they? Let me see if I could get this news for all y'all. U.S. business inventories month over month actual 0.3. The forecast was 0.3. Housing market index actual 39. The forecast was 42. The previous was 42. The market open imbalance was bearish. Google taps Taiwan for cheaper AI chips. Canadian home sales, they dropped. Effective fund rate. Okay, we knew that. I'm not seeing any crazy news here. But definitely a double toppy-ish type of a situation thus far on the SPY. Looking at the flow, ooh, that's not so good. That's not so good. Not that nice trend day we would necessarily want. Dude, the SPY actually way closer to the bottom than it is to the top, but is it going to find anything? The Qs right here had a great open until 942, a phenomenal open. I tried to go long first here at 946. I was like, okay, that's the pullback and we're going to go. Nope. We got hit even higher, found itself at the high value from Friday, had a nice bounce, trend line breakout, failure, try to bounce again, failure, and now we're just like knocked back into it. Oh, golly. Their strength was there for a second and it's quickly dwindling away. Getting a little bit of alert here. Oh, do I just want to close this early and save myself a little bit of money? Do I want to save myself a little bit of money or do I just want to leave my risk where it is? What time is it? We're just 10:04. All right, we have some buyers stepping in right at this previous low. The SPY and the Qs just made a fresh low. So weird situation. The SPY is basically sideways. We have a higher high and a lower low, so a slightly expanding pattern, but the Nasdaq is weaker. We have lower highs and lower lows. So tech sector right now, the intraday price trend, not the most bullish, that's for sure. And that's kind of being represented by what we're seeing here in the options flow. The Mag 7 had a nice push to 942, and this is probably part of the reason what I got caught up in was on this little pullback. I thought it was still bullish, but it's actually just vomiting. Price trying to pop a little bit right now, but the options market is not agreeing with it, so be careful. A little bit of optimism here, but once again, just at the moment, here, I'll remark these out so we know if it flushes. We're not seeing optimism quite yet. I would like to see a pop here. Is the Nasdaq popping? Okay, the Nasdaq caught a little bit of positive movement with price here. How's the S&P 500 looking? It's flat. So not following through on the SPY. So I see a little bit. Everyone's kind of awkwardly looking around of like, is this the dip to be bought? But we're not. The only thing I see a little bit of optimism in is the Nasdaq, and even that is minuscule. The Mag 7 just took a hit there. Damn. No. Well, we're kind of right on the edge, folks. We are right on the edge. Is it going to... Where are we on this? Well, this is key support, 5,650. So it's not the craziest thing that buyers would step in here. I'm just not seeing them yet. I mean, they could obviously step in whenever they want, but I'm just saying at this moment in time, it's not like there's huge spikes of aggression trying to get this to bounce. Could be a different story if we recapture 5,657, just kind of looking at this chunk of trades here. But I just keep coming back to this flow, and it's just, in fact, the Mag 7 just hit the lowest delta reading of the day. So it feels like if they're going to save it, they better start saving it now. These buyers better step in if they actually want to keep this overall structure alive. All right, we're potentially getting another little trend line breakout here. Watching this trend line, I guess we could just draw a completely new one because that ended up being a fake out. So watching that trend line, maybe even watching something like this on the SPY and the Qs, maybe if it can get pushing, but I'm just seeing it's just so lethargic right here. Okay, we just saw the first sign of potential excitement at 10:06. The NASDAQ right there at 10:06. The Mag 7 literally just making a low of the day. Watch this trend line. I mean, if you're taking this shot right here, just obviously make sure to respect your risk, because if we do turn, it would look like this. Obviously, you have to bottom somewhere. Okay, that's a little bit of a pop. A little bit of a pop there in the SPY. So, yeah, I mean, I guess if you like it just because you're like, hey, bullish, 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 like that makes sense. It's retesting this trend line. Is it going to follow through? SPY's at the trend line now. The Qs have a little bit of distance to go. Both of them technically made a fresh low after the SPY made a fresh high. That's an expanding pattern. When you're making higher highs and lower lows, it means price doesn't know what the hell it wants to do. At one point, you have the bulls being stronger. At one point, you have the bears being stronger, which is generally good for patience. I still think the upper hand goes to the bulls as of now, just because price momentum, 5-minute, 10-minute, 30-minute bullish, 5-minute, 10-minute, 30-minute bullish on the NASDAQ as well. But I do fully admit the options flow is clearly leaving a little bit to be desired. We may be double bottomed here in the NASDAQ. The Mag 7 may be double bottoming, and then the SPY also may be double bottom. That's a big maybe, though. That is a giant maybe. I see a potential trend line breakout here on SPY. If you do it, if you like that trade, obviously just be disciplined and follow the risk. I personally prefer using the recent low, but obviously if you want to give it a little bit more room to breathe, if for whatever reason you're like very bullish today, maybe use the intraday low if you're like a little bit more loosey-goosey with it. But I see the Qs right now just ran up to that trend line, getting smacked as we're talking. Same thing with the SPY. The SPY tried to break out and in real time getting smacked. What is happening? Actually, on the smack, the Mag 7 for the first time showing a little bit of strength. Today is messy. It's a messy, messy day. Oh, the NASDAQ was smacked pretty much exactly at 20,000. So you just had people reacting to that key psychological level. Once again, NQ on the newest contract, on the June contract, pretty much getting perfectly smacked at 20,000. I don't think that, this right now on TradingView, they didn't roll theirs yet, so maybe they're going to be rolling Wednesday of this week. But for anyone trading futures, it is a big roll week. So, what is this? EU to probe aluminum imports redirected by Trump tariffs. So that was just reported 9 seconds ago by the Financial Times. Once again, the EU to probe aluminum imports redirected by Trump tariffs. So a little bit of tariff news there. So maybe because there was tariff news, the bots at first reacted poorly, and now they're realizing that that's kind of nothing. So maybe we're getting a bit of a bounce here. I'd be, once again, I mean, I kind of wanted to see the SPY above 566, but I'll even take 560, like 75. I would love. Really, what I'm looking for is if the Qs. I redrew this trend line just to see if it could take that out. So kind of watching for this. Kind of watching back to the flow because that seems to be the golden thing today. That's like keeping us from going is the Nasdaq and the mag trying to pick up. The SPY is looking so lethargic. Price does look actually better than options right now. The options market is not looking how you'd want it to look if you're bullish, which I happen to be as of market open. We do have some positive gamma above. I'm not even going for that far. 5,680. The spot gamma implied 1 day high. I would love that. All right. Are we going to get it? All right. Here, I'm going to move up this alert to the recent low. Moving up the alert to the recent low. Looking, the SPY already got its trend line. Weird trend line, though. My real interest right now is can the Nasdaq, can the QQQs take out their intraday trend line? I'm still in this position, and it is not going well. Not going well. Seems like we're struggling to get back above 20,000. I was hoping it would act as support when I first got into this trade, but right now it seemingly is acting as resistance. I'm not that far underwater. I'm $400 about 20 points, so we're going to see. Come on. I would feel so much better about this if we take out whatever the hell this is. 20,000, just basically 28, this recent high at 955. If we take that out, I think that price, the positive price momentum would be a huge benefit to what in the world is going on with options momentum, which thus far today has been seemingly non-existent. The Mag 7 closer to the bottom of the day than the top. The Nasdaq is now picking up in options. Oh, and the SPY. Okay. Finally, we're seeing it right here starting at 10-10-20. Big positive movement in the delta right there on the SPY. Maybe, just maybe, that's enough to get us actually going. We're not that far from the intraday high. The current intraday high in SPX is 5669. This recent pop, once again, attributed to, what was it, calls or puts or both? Both. People buying 0DT calls and selling their 0DT puts. Granted, it just stopped, but a little bit of enthusiasm starting at 10:10. So 40 minutes into the trading day. The first bullishness we've kind of seen in the options market, but the question is there going to be follow through? And that's what we're waiting for. Are we going to see a new intraday high or not? The Nasdaq trying to get its trend line breakout, but the first two trend line breakouts were fake outs, so be very careful there. The SPY got its trend line breakout a while ago, but it was had a high slope, so maybe you don't like that. But anyway, I have an alert set on a potential reversal and also the intraday high on the SPY, and then a potential like bullish confirmation or bearish confirmation on the Qs here. But look at this. Is this honestly going to be the third fake out of the day? I'm being forced to keep redrawing these trend lines on the NASDAQ. And of course it's happening right where I'm effectively break even. I'm down by about 10 points at this moment. I took one shot early this morning in just in case, because at that point there was a lot of bullishness in the options market, but you could see it got rocked not that much later. So I would love to have my break even, at least my stop set to break even, just so I don't go further in a hole right here. But what I'm looking for is really for price to get above this 955, 956 high, and then I'd feel a little bit more comfortable. And then of course I would love for it to be testing the intraday high. So I'm watching these two levels after this just fuck up of a breakout, but finally back in the green. So I like to see that. Bullish. Cool. All right. Patience. We're now just at the point of patience. The Qs seemingly holding the trend line this time, but I'd like it to take out this high, and then the SPY, if it takes that out, that's a fresh high. And I already laid out the level for you right here, 5680, which I am obviously playing because I just showed you my position. So we're going to see how this all goes. Well, while we're waiting to see if I'm on the right side or the wrong side of this trade, any questions about anything that I've said? Right now, things are moving a little bit slower. We're seeing the VIX collapse below 21. So this is actually, I feel like I've been in this trade for a while now, but things are just moving so slowly that perfect time for an AMA. Do you have any questions about public? Do you have any questions about Apex? Do you have any questions about the Discord? Do you have any questions about options and options flow? Do you have questions about individual equities that you're like, hey, like, is this, like, I don't know, do you, any thoughts, questions, anything like that? Like I said, we're kind of here just waiting, so we might as well use our time accordingly. Matt, do you like IKEA meatballs? Of course I do. I'm a human, so I feel like that's a good test to know if you're a human or not. Wonder how the Condor situation is going? I mean, I could tell you right now. We can look at it in real time. I believe they're still there. Let me go to the net OI. No. Wait. Did they pull the position? Whoa. Oh, wait. No. Am I zoomed in improperly? What is this? Yeah. 5680. 5580. So other traders pulled the position, but the Condor is still there. Once again, this is kind of back to the original sizing at weeks ago. It ballooned to be like almost 10x this, 8x this. But right now, this is kind of back to that base sizing of about 4,000. So 5680 is the call side. And then right here, 5580 is the put side, but they're still there, still actively in the position. They, I can't say this as like a definitive truth of the situation, but what I can say is that player rarely pulls their position. They throw the position on and then just kind of wait for the end of the day. I actually can't, on the top of my mind, think of a time that they pulled the position. I need cool baby names. Well, if it's for you, obviously, massive congrats. But if you just need baby names to help someone name a baby, we could definitely help you in here. What do you think about AMC? Oh, I think it's a horrible investment. And even right now, I think it's actually a horrible trade. It just doesn't move much. So it's, as of right now, it's never really been a good investment ever. Anyone who knows how to do fundamental analysis would never say AMC was a good investment. For a long period of time, it was a great trade, both to the upside and then following that very quickly to the downside. But right now, it's neither. It's never been a good investment. And just because of their debt situation, I never expect it to be a good investment unless they change a lot of things. In terms of a trade, though, yeah, I mean, if volatility comes back and people start moving, you need just good ranges. And then, hell yeah, you can make a lot of money. How much money would you have to put into a trade to actually affect the options price or stock price? It depends on the liquidity of that. It takes a lot more to impact something like the S&P 500 than it would like some random penny stock. So it's not like there's a set number for everything. And well, I mean, to be super technical, right now, if you buy at if you just do a market order, you would impact it because you'd be traversing the bid and in terms of affecting the stock. Yeah, if you just do the market order, you're going to hit the ask and then you're going to see it turn up. So technically, just the amount of money of one share of the underlying and you would be impacting it. But I believe from your question, you're saying, okay, more of a noteworthy thing, like a breakout or a breakdown. That is the answer to that is directly related to the liquidity. If it's a highly liquid product, you're going to need a lot more money, like the S&P 500. If it's a hyper illiquid product, like a random pharma penny stock that they're trading 10,000 shares a day and it's at $1, it wouldn't take that much money. So the higher the liquidity, the more money you'd have to see that outsized impact. We are, as of right now, seemingly triple topping on the SPY and double topping here on the Qs, which is beyond frustrating. I really wanted that follow through, but maybe we're going to get an inverse shoulder, head, shoulder situation. Maybe we could just put in a higher low and then rip. That would be nice because instead of using the recent risk at 1003, you could theoretically update your risk to this 1018 low. So if we follow through from here, I'm not going to hate it, but we're just not seeing any follow through today. Look at options are just flat on the Mag 7. They're kind of flat on the NASDAQ, and they're actually near the low on the SPY. yeah, we're stuck in purgatory right now. I'm looking for a breakout of the intraday high, because then I could update my risk to the 1018 low, and then I'm looking for the follow through to the next key options level, which it's a key options level today because Captain Condor is back in style. So I'd be looking at how the market reacts there, especially because we are seeing quite a bit of positive gamma. Let me zoom in. You can see we have this node of positive gamma, but then if it breaks, there's actually the next positive gamma node is actually above 5,700. So if you're like, you know what, I'm feeling real optimistic about it, that might be a place that you scale out, and then you could have another target. This is the next key level. So I'm looking at this just because it's the next target, but I just do want to clarify that if we break and hold it, there's potentially a whole nother 20-point move. But as of right now, we're just watching paint dry. We're waiting for something to happen. Can you explain gamma exposure negative versus positive, also volume and open interest into this? So volume is just the amount of contracts traded in that session. Open interest is the amount of live contracts. And the reason they're different is because you could trade 10 contracts yesterday and 5 contracts today. So the volume yesterday would be 10 and today would be 5, but you could have the open interest of 15 because if all the contracts are live, like open interest is the amount of currently active live contracts, while volume is the amount of contracts traded in that session. Positive and negative gamma is just, remember, when you're trading stocks, it's a multi-dealer market. As in, if you're trading against market makers, other traders, hedge funds, insurance funds, the list goes on and on and on. If you're trading options, it's a single dealer market. If you choose to buy a call, a market maker is selling you that call. If you choose to whatever with a put, the market maker is always taking the other side. So trading stocks is more like poker and everyone's playing against everyone. While if you're trading options, it's more like blackjack and you're playing just against the house. So because of that, it allows us to model out situations in a very interesting way. So the question more directly of like, what is positive and negative gamma? Basically, if you have, whether calls or puts, if the people taking all the trades are buying premium, if they're long premium, that means you're in a negative gamma environment. And if in aggregate, if people are selling premium, that means that you're in a positive gamma environment. And why this is important is because what happens in positive and negative gamma? Positive and negative gamma aren't bullish or bearish. It tells you, are you in more of a mean reverting or a trend following environment? So when people go out there and they just sell a bunch of premium, whether it's calls or puts, you're in positive gamma. And what that means is when you get to these key levels, the market makers have to hedge their book by doing the opposite. So if you go up and up and up, they start to sell, thus mean reverting. While if you're in a negative gamma environment, let's say a bunch of people are long calls, well, when you start to go up, they have to hedge themselves by buying more of the underlying, which causes it to go up even more, which causes more people to get in. So negative gamma, not bullish or bearish. Well, no gamma reading is bullish or bearish. It just tells you about how market makers are going to hedge. If it's negative gamma, if you're in a negative gamma environment, which is produced by people buying a bunch of premium, long calls, long puts, you get trend following. On the flip side, positive gamma is when in aggregate you have a bunch of premium selling calls, selling puts, and that's more mean reverting. Once again, don't confuse that with being bullish or bearish. You can have big bullish days or big bearish days. They both happen in negative gamma environments. So think of negative gamma as like big range, big movements, while positive gamma is like you kind of get there and it's more of like a stick in the mud situation, kind of like quicksand is probably the best way to really think about that. And then it looks like someone was just spamming, which is always so stupid. Matt, grow your beard back, be above everyone else. Well, I appreciate that, but you're now muted because you just kept spamming. Did you see the news about Louder with Crowder streaming exclusively on Rumble? I did see that. What provides positive or negative gamma? Once again, the trades. Oh, who provides it? I think spot gamma is the best way to do it. But there are other option platforms, but spot gamma I think is the best by like a country mile. I don't even think it's close. Like I truly don't even think it's close in terms of like an options analytics platform. All right, we are back to just being range bound. We try to get this trend line breakout at 10-12 and the Qs are flat, the SPY is flat. We are holding above 5,650, which I like. The range is getting clearly like smaller. We're just waiting. Nothing's happening today. So I guess if it breaks down, the Qs are going the wrong way, unfortunately. Potentially breaking to the bottom side of its range, but we do have this could act as support. It might just bounce off the bottom of its range, and then also we have this trend line that might be support if it slightly overshoots it. Just to show you the options flow in real time, the Mag 7 just made a fresh low, which is why we heard that alert go off. The Nasdaq turned a little bit to the south, and then the SPY right here actually also hit a fresh low. So price and options do not agree right now. Price is showing something much stronger. 5 minute, 10 minute, 30 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute, 30 minute. Price is showing something much stronger, while options, more specifically, calls are flat on the SPY, but we do have some put buying that started at 958, but it's not like hyper aggressive. The Nasdaq, we had some call selling recently, and super recently someone just bought some longer dated puts. And then looking at the Mag 7, this is really interesting. On the Mag 7, no one's touching puts. It's just call selling all day. So it's the removing of positive delta, which we got a little pop fake out, and then it just quickly got smashed. So what we're seeing is, I suppose, a lack of bullishness in the Nasdaq is what's currently going on. People aren't actively putting on bearish positions, but they are removing their bullish positions, and now it's enough to really cause this to crack. Fuck. So dramatic. Look at right here. The delta on the S&P 500 complex just hit its lowest reading of the day. The Nasdaq just tied its second lowest reading of the day. And then the Mag 7 also the lowest reading of the day. But this delta is dropping off. Once again, people aren't punting it into puts. They're just getting out of their calls for whatever reason. It's just a huge amount of call selling. At first it was for this Friday, and then somewhere around 9:45 it really sped up. No one's really touching these puts, though. The puts are pretty much flat on the Mag 7. The Nasdaq is looking messy, but some call selling here around 10:20. And then the SPY. The calls are kind of flat. We do have this situation where the put purchasing started to pick up right at the turn of the hour. I wonder if the goal is like a push down to 56.50. All I can tell you is it's a giant mismatch. Come on now. Volume is purely how loud you say. Sideways trading is so fun. Yeah, we're just stuck in purgatory. Stuck in purgatory, team. I mean, if you really zoom out here, look at the SPY. We kind of had a push up for the first 6 minutes. And since then, we've just been, literally since the first 6 minutes, we've just been spending half the time above and half the time below of like where we went. So as of now, the first real move was just like this open bullishness. And since then, just nothing. With respect to individual equities, obviously Palantir now showing weakness, officially going red on the day. Tesla showing weakness, down 4%. Netflix showing strength, up 3%. But we are seeing movement in the Mag 7, so some of the most popular tech names are taking that hit, unfortunately. The Nasdaq, speaking of which, is battling it out at the high from Friday. I always say yesterday because most of the time it is yesterday, but really the last trading session. The Qs are getting clocked right now, coming up to VWAP. Just a shit chop day. Just a garbage chop day right now. Not a fan. I want moves. I want trends. I don't want to be dealing with this stupid bullshit right now, but alas, we are. Alas, we are. Man, I was hoping that right here, 1018, I was like, okay, cool. Finally, we might be establishing a higher low, and then we push above, make fresh highs on the day. We could establish that. That would have been such a nice follow through, a beautiful follow through. We're just not getting it. Even though price is trying to remain strong, the options market is like literally in real time just diving against us. Nasdaq. So I think everyone in the world is being frustrated right now because if you're bearish, you're frustrated that price is holding even though options are going for you. And then if you're bullish, you're frustrated that price isn't breaking out, and then you realize it's because options are against you. So like right now, what's the VIX at? Is the VIX dropping? precipitously, or is it rising? It's just holding 21. So even on this little pullback, the vol is not going up. This is just a chop day where I think on both sides of it, you're probably just hyper frustrated. Has one of those vibes.
Order filled.
Has one of those vibes.
Order canceled.
Chop, chop, chop. Chop, chop, chop. We're just waiting for something. Just getting a chance to respond. We have a little croissant in the oven. Shout out, Billy. Shout out, Bilbo. One of the nicest people. We're just waiting. Waiting. This is a shitty environment right now. Look at this. How many fake breakouts, dude? Guess you could watch this overextension. Oh, I wonder if that's a good... I wonder what the fuck is going on today. Honestly, we're just now on the S&P 500 at the bottom of this range. We had a huge pump. We came down, pumped again, clocked at the top, came back down to 5,650, got here, pumped right back up to the same high. It's just, we had a little bit of a range, but overall, ever since how long did it take us? 4 minutes. So we had 4 minutes of fun movement. And since then, just this range, just this bullshit range. And that's what it is. Hang on, let me show you the options flow with this. It is looking weak, but maybe showing a bit of life right here. Maybe showing a little bit of life. I mean, we just literally flushed to a new low an hour into this. There's definitely not the most fun way to start a week. Not the most fun. Is there any... Oh, Palantir's getting hit. What's moving right now? Like, is there anything that's actually having tradable moves? I see some weakness according to this heat map, like in the overall tech sector. Consumer defensive, a lot of green. Real estate green. Energy green. Most of the utilities green. So kind of like this inverted L over here. I'm seeing some optimism, but these larger tech plays, especially being led down by Tesla. Tesla is clearly the worst of these. Tesla, TSLE, and then NEE, Next Era Energy, getting clocked. Seeing some deep red there. And then some random ass materials plays. We're just right here at, what is that? We're just at, we're at VWAP now on the NASDAQ. Financials are lagging. I mean, I'm seeing a little bit of green over here. Some of the bigger ones are a bit red. It's just, there's more green than red. Unfortunately, the things that are red and kind of gray are the most influential ones, but we are holding bullish. I guess a failed breakout here on the NASDAQ. But we might be holding this range on SPX. Look at that. Literally, it's just like a roller coaster. Just going nowhere. We go to the top of the range, bottom of the range, top of the range, bottom of the range, top of the range, maybe high low. Nope, bottom of the range. I wouldn't be surprised if we go to the top of the range, and I wouldn't be surprised if we go back down to the bottom of the range. It's absurdly frustrating for anyone involved, because if you're bearish, you're looking for the breakdown of the range, but the range is holding, even though options are puking. So it's frustrating to be a bear because you're not getting the price breakdown that you need, even though options are with you. And then on the flip side, if you're bull, you're saying, well, hang on, support's holding, but then options are never giving you that breather for the breakout. So right now it's just the game of everyone is getting screwed. Everyone is getting screwed. So we're just in a whipsaw shit day. So you just kind of have to have that patience, or maybe if you recognize it as a whipsaw shit day, remember, you don't have to trade every day. I know as a DGen, you kind of want to trade every day. But remember, you do not have to. There's no rules making you do it. You definitely don't have to. If anything, you could just wait and wait and wait and wait and just be patient. About to bust? Maybe. But also maybe not. I mean, that guess is a 50-50 guess. It's a 50-50 guess. SPYs, the NASDAQ got a bit of a bounce right there after its low. The MAG 7 is not looking so good. The MAG 7 is not looking so good right now. Chop bullshit. So a lot more weakness in the NASDAQ today than, I don't know why that alert is not where it needs to be. SPY's holding up a bit better. SPY's up 0.3% while the Qs are up 0.8. Literally right. The Qs are trying to find support at the closing value from Friday, while the SPY is still above the high from Friday. So the overall market a bit better, which means there is, for whatever reason, like particular downside movement in the tech sector right now. MSTR is down 4%, Meta's down 1%, Broadcom's down 1.9%, Nvidia's down 1.6%, Tesla's down 4.6%. That's actually one of the worst ones in the entire S&P 500 today. Even this, Palantir went from having an 8% return on Friday. It was up an additional 2 or 3% this morning. Now Palantir's in the red, just puking from 88.50 all the way down to 85. So the rest of the market is trying to fight upwards, but tech is just really holding it back today. Tech is really, really holding it back. So we just have to wait. We know it's a strange week. We were kind of prepping for that. As I tweeted out, what was it, Friday? I think we are in a dead cat bounce situation, which is still inherently true. I am seeing, even though the SPY is going up, we make fresh highs relative to Friday. I still believe overall this is a dead cat. There's not the most on the docket for tomorrow, but on Wednesday, not only is it vol expiration, it is also on, Palantir's going, shit. Not only do we have vol expiration on Wednesday, but we also have the FOMC meeting that afternoon. This is getting painful. So that's definitely some... Is it going to bounce right out of it? Let's see what's going on in the flow. Let's see what's going on. Let me close up some of these tabs I don't need. Where are we? The SPY, fresh delta of the low of the day, NASDAQ, and the MAG 7. Just choppy bullshit. Choppy. The amount of fake out breakouts on the queue, astounding. Once again, price trying to remain stronger than the options flow. Options flow uniquely weak, and price is now starting to agree with how weak options flow has been. What I don't get about it is it's just call selling. It's actually not bearish. And it's, as I say that, literally a chunk of puts were just purchased at 10:30. But you could see really the tune of the day starting at 9:43. It became pretty evident. Starting at 9:43, just a vomit. Just all these calls being sold. The calls are dropping. So it might be people getting out of a position. It could also simultaneously be, I mean, it really could just, I guess, people selling higher calls, like higher strike calls, creating a position. So, I mean, to know that, we'd have to double check, is the open interest going up or down based on all these trades on the call side. All I could tell you is that due to the calls, the call side of the equation, the delta is dropping. So they're either exiting a call swing or they are getting into it. They're selling to open this position, but started a lot with this Friday, and then it kind of sped up with things farther out. Looking at the NASDAQ, people are actually legitimately buying puts at 10.25. Looking at the SPY, the calls are flat, slowly bleeding to the downside. But it's just, this is a major support area. Like, I know we're joking about it, but literally, we run up, we get smacked. 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 Like, huge support. Just look for this push back up to 669. Maybe it breaks out this time, maybe it doesn't. But these are the key levels, obviously, for a reason. The SPY would be, the SPY might be at 5680 right now, 5,700 flat, if the tech sector just weren't so weak. It's just so weak right now. So that's just something we have to contest with. Are you positive or negative for the FOMC meeting on Wednesday? Neither. I don't think that's something you could realistically answer. I guess I have no answer to that question because I don't think that's the appropriate way to approach the market. I don't think that's a profitable way to approach the market. What you do is you lay out the key levels, and then you wait to see what price momentum is, and you wait to see what options flow is, and then you see if you could take advantage of those things aligning with a low risk opportunity. Just to be coming into it bullish or bearish, of course I can have an opinion. I could flip a coin and I could tell you, but it's not really worth anything. What advice would you give 9-to-5 working people trying to get into trading? I'm here every day watching, but it's trying hard to trade with Matt. Should I wait to finish my workday and focus? Well, if you finish your workday, the chance that the market is going to be closed is high, and that's not good. So if you have a job, you shouldn't be day trading. Like, I think the way you could reasonably get back into it is via swing trading. So I would say, okay, like you got to expand your time frame that you care about, and you might want to start focusing on like the daily and the weekly chart and not be an intraday trader, because it would just be too tough with the day job. But even with that being said, you could, like, everyone should start with paper accounts anyway. So even if you're like, yeah, I'm going to sell premium for 2 weeks out. Okay, start on a paper account. Prove to yourself that you have a profitable strategy. You don't have to be risking money right away. And what you could do is you continue to work at your job. You can build up your account value, and then your account value is going to be higher, which is going to allow you to withstand more variance when you're comfortable with your strategy. As boring as it is, no one should be risking real money out of the gate as an active trader. If you're a day trader, or a scalp trader, a swing trader, buying premium, selling premium, there's truly no point in risking your money like just out of the gate. But in terms of like how can you realistically pivot, well, you just have to trade on the time frame that's reasonable with your life. So if you just don't have the time to be able to like watch all the intraday movements, well, you're just not a day trader. Then that's all right. In fact, it's easier to be a swing trader. Like the longer your time frame, the easier it is to find success, because it's just far less complicated. Paper trading does not simulate my emotions properly. Well, no shit, because it's paper trading, but it's still, you don't want to start off with having emotional issues and just like brokerage issues and not fully understanding what you're doing. At least you could take away a lot of the problems by doing paper trading first. And then from there, all you have to focus on of the major differential is the emotional side. The whole game here is to minimize the amount of issues that you're going to have. Your math isn't math. And Matt, didn't you say your initial thesis is we're going to drop more before March OPEX? Isn't March OPEX this Friday? It's the 17th. Just curious why you would be bullish now. I explained the whole thing already. I don't know. At this point, for everyone who's been listening, they've heard the whole reasoning and the whole breakdown. But I'll tell you, the math is still 100% mathing. Your emotions should be as managed as paper trading. Well, yeah, and like that's obviously easier said than done. Like that's something like I would say all traders are aspiring to do. And of course, like there is a very fair argument of like, okay, sometimes you have to get your feet in the fire to understand like what it really feels like, of course. But once again, the name of the game here is to minimize the amount of potentials you're going to have. So like if the only thing you really have to contest with as a new thing is your emotions, because you're already comfortable with the brokerage and your strategy and how you want to execute it, this, that, the other thing. Okay, like great. That all then makes sense. But to just be like, no, I'm going to figure it all out at once. Potential brokerage issues, strategy issues, emotion issues. It's like, well, make your life easier. You can work on some of those things beforehand, not when you're risking your own money. I've never heard of dub trading ever. Oceans are not the same. This is very difficult to simulate. When you start trading real money, I recommend only starting trading 5% of your portfolio. Yeah, I mean, you're very hard pressed to ever find a situation where you would want to be risking more than 5% of your portfolio on an individual trade. There's a lot of people who go even more conservative and they'll use like 2 to 3%. Another great day, locked in 37K on my Rhythmic account, and then another 33K on my Wealth Charts account. So 70K profit locked in for the day. That's sick, dude. Good for you. Mine are not looking. I'm actually finding today to be difficult just because so many things are not aligning. But it looks like we're getting a bit of a bounce back. Looks like we're getting a bit of a bounce back. A bit. let me check this one account. I want to check some data, see what's going on. See what in the world is going on in these accounts. The Discord knows this, but I opened up some calls right now to ideally benefit off of this dead cat bounce that I believe will be playing out. So just kind of waiting. I believe, once again, just my goal is to try to identify the highest probability pathways for price. And just because it's the highest probability, of course, it's not a guarantee, which is why more important than identifying the highest probability pathways is just like always risk management, because you could be like lights out in terms of figuring out the high odds situations, but high odds is not 100%. So even if you're a person who, for whatever reason, you're like have a savant understanding of market and market structure and options and this, that, and the other way, it doesn't matter, because at most you're going to be right 99% of the time. And it's that other like 1% that if you're wrong, it's over. Supposedly you copy other people's trades. That sounds stupid. That I would never use a service like that where some like just random thing where other people are trading and it just impacts your account. I would never do that. Which funding companies, if you have any, recommended for swinging as Vanquish trader? No sim companies let you swing that I know of. The sim to funded, in order to swing, you probably have to be at like a real prop company, as in like real money's at risk. The sim to funding companies, they don't want to take on the risk of like an overnight, because it puts the company at risk if there's a huge gap against them, i.e. in your favor. So it's not just Vanquish, but I don't know of a single sim to funded company that lets you swing stuff overnight. It just is way too much risk for them. I just use your advice and follow trends and not marry either position. If it goes down, I ride it down. If it goes up, I lock in as many tendies as I can get out. Can you copy trade and still lose money based? You can copy trade and still lose money based on entries and exits. What? Even normal futures have different overnight margin. I don't know what you're talking about. There's day trading margin and then there's the actual margin. Do you still use StreetBeat? I have StreetBeat, but that's just like the AI systems in there are trading for me, so I don't really touch it at all. So I still have it, but it's not like I'm myself doing anything with them. I just let the AI do AI stuff and trade whatever it thinks the best trades are, which I like because it's there's already like so much to manage on a given day. Most online props don't even traders live, so they should allow you swinging. So they should no, once again, because it's too much risk to them. Once again, like they want your money, we want their money, so they're not going to put that. They're not going to ever put themselves in a situation where like they could potentially blow out because of like an earnings report or something like that. So they're never going to do it. I fully understand on your side how you'd want to do it. For sure, because like then you have that opportunity, but it's asymmetric risk for them, so it'd be a stupid business decision. How come you don't do reacts anymore? Just because it wasn't really cohesive with what this channel is. I think it like prompted confusion, and then we had viewers that were. We had viewers coming to the channel that were looking for two distinct things, when in reality, it should have just been two distinct channels. The overlap didn't really make sense. I risk 0.1% of my portfolio per trade. Well, that's probably too small. That doesn't make there's too big and there's too small. Going too small, even if you're right, like you're never going to make good progressive steps in your account. So. Most people don't have that issue of undersizing, but from a math standpoint, undersizing can still very much be an issue. Hey, Matt, what delta do you think is good delta to sell covered calls at against on leaps? I don't know. You could, I think from a math perspective, rather than me just like saying just random stuff out of thin air, Tasty Trade has done quite a bit of study on anywhere between like they call out the 16 delta quite a bit, but you could look at anywhere between the 15 and the 20 delta. But that's just kind of like the starting situation. From there, there's other things you have to learn. So I wouldn't just say, oh, like, here's the delta and like you're good, like move on with your life. That's a starting point, but there's still quite a bit more you have to learn. And I know those numbers have had quite a bit of extensive testing from the Tasty Trade team. Ended, but now they're going. What else do we have? We're just kind of waiting. We've moved for the first 5 minutes of the day, and the SPY's flat. Tech's a little bit weaker. If tech breaks out, maybe SPY will break out, but we just haven't gone anywhere. Tech is definitely showing some weakness. The only major tech play I see decently holding up is Netflix, up 3.9%. Microsoft's trying to hold. Apple's actually getting hit. Palantir was looking great this morning, got smoked. Tesla's been getting smoked. How can I try out for your editing team? As of now, you can't. We're just not in need of an additional editor. So, I mean, I'll let you know if that changes. But right now, we don't really have any open positions. Have you looked at Mentor or Trade It? I've heard of them, but I'm telling you, Spot Gamma is the best. I've used all these services. I've talked to a lot of the teams. I'm telling you, Spot Gamma is the best option analytics tool currently available to retail traders. Which Ninja Turtle is the best? Ooh, that's a good question. All right, well, the Q started to get going, trying to take out this high, and then getting smacked. Oh, brother. Oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother. Kramer has went full MAGA? What did Kramer say? Okay, here's the most recent options flow update. The SPY at the low of the day. So, once again, everyone's getting screwed today. Because if you just came in right now, no position, I showed you this options flow, you'd be like, okay, I'm going to be bearish because we're at the lowest delta reading of the day. Unfortunately, being bearish is we're not getting any breakdown. On the flip side, if you're like, well, hang on, overall trend is bullish, 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 and you're trying to take a bullish position, well, we're not breaking out, and then the option trend's against you. So right now, this is a great day that everyone's losing pretty much except for premium sellers. If you're a premium seller, you're most likely on the right side of it. There are a couple stats, facts, and figures that we have from Edgeful, knowing the fact that we already took out Friday's session high. There's a better chance than not. There's a 77% chance that we close today above 562.81 and above 479.66. So independently, those both have a 77, 78% chance of happening because we took out the high. So as soon as you take out the previous session's high, there's good odds that you close out the day. It could be a cent or it could be many, many dollars. It's just more of a binary situation of above or below, and looking at the closing value from Friday. So as soon as you take out the high, look at the closing value, and you know there's good odds of being above that. Once again, that is 562.81. So this stat would be true at 562.82 or anywhere above. So it's not necessarily a linear bet. It's not saying you should be bullish. It's anything. It's more of like a premium selling stat. Do you ever straddle trades? I've if you're talking about like an option straddle, yeah, I've traded straddles. It's not my favorite. Would it be possible for you to look at NVIDIA over the next week? I mean, NVIDIA is going to be incredibly correlated with the overall market. So this is going to look very similar to the Qs. It's going to look very similar to the SPY. NVIDIA is the top 3 company in the world. It's going to be hard for it to have a major deviation from the overall market. So my prediction on NVIDIA is pretty much the same on the overall market. I think we have a dead cat bounce somewhere between March OPEX and the end of the month. I think we see the real bottom. And then from there, I'm looking for a very bullish April. Matt, what is the smallest percentage of account trade you've made in general? I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know what, like, I've never tracked it because to me that doesn't mean anything. Like, that's not like a useful thing to me to know the smallest percentage of my account trade that I've made in general. I don't know that stat because I think it has like zero impact or utility. It's true. I mean, before you just asked this right now, I don't think I've ever thought about it even. What is the smallest percentage of account that a trade that I've made? No fucking clue. Like truly, I have no idea. I don't know. Bullish. And we took it. Not only did we take out the high, but we took out the pre-market high as well. So whenever I see this overall trend, it's hard for me to be having a bearish position, knowing what it means when you take out the previous session's high and take out the pre-market high, which we did that on ES and on NQ. But on the flip side, I do see that the options flow is clearly bearish. So it's just like a mixed bullshit day. This is a good day to do nothing. The only winners right now are people who are selling premium. With whiz or without? Of course, with whiz. The SPY taking out a recent low, potentially bouncing off the high from Friday, while the Qs are actually going for a new intraday low, already taking out the previous high, already taking out the previous low. So the SPY's in the green, but the Qs are actually legitimately testing red, which is showing you the relative weakness of the tech sector today. The tech sector definitely having a bit of weakness, and it's not so good that Apple is getting hit when the world's biggest company is dumping. Not so good. Even Microsoft's turning, NVIDIA. Yeah, when the top three biggest companies in the world, Apple, Microsoft, and NVIDIA, are all simultaneously dipping, yes, of course the SPY and the Qs are going to be dipping. Of course the SPY and the Qs are going to be dipping. Are you still in the NQ position? No, I had my wrist that got hit a while ago at this point. A while ago. Damn. Yep. At this point, we might officially have a lower high here and making kind of these fresh lows. So we're very quickly unwinding this push that we had at the start of the day. Very quickly unwinding that push. Man, this was a legitimately good opportunity to go long, and it just got so quickly smashed at 954. We pumped up, we pulled back, we showed a bit of strength. And even at that point, it looked like the SPY wanted to go, but nope, just got murked. What does the technical look like for Rocket Lab for a buy? How does the technicals look on Rocket Lab for a buy? Well, you would never say for a buy. You would just say, how does the technicals look? Sounds like you're already trying to paint your own buys for a reason to get in. I mean, you're definitely trying to buy a dip. You have not the most risk, but also clearly it's bearish recently. I don't like it, really. I mean, because even if you're right, it's not that big of a movement. So then I think about the risk reward, and I mean, it's fine. I see what you're saying. Like, you're trying to come in and buy this dip, and maybe you have a little bit of a push to 22 or 26. Like, I don't hate it. It's just I don't think it's that exciting. I just think there's better opportunities in the market. They got in trouble with PDD. Luckily, they had one-time forgiveness, but my psychology had to change. I've kind of struggled. I mean, most people legitimately, you'd be better off not day trading. Swing trading is easier, and investing is the easiest. The longer the duration of your trade, the easier it becomes. SPY's at yesterday's high. Correct. That is factually true. The SPY is at yesterday's high. Well, price now, wait, where do we go on this one? Not holding the 5650. So we really tried to get going, and we held most of the day above it, but it is now failing because of weakness that we're seeing in tech. And you could just see that this is just getting fucked up. Yeah, we're just dumping here. We're just dumping. Yeah, I'm going through. There's the S&P 500 fresh delta low, the Nasdaq fresh delta low, Mag 7 fresh delta low. When I see the options being the complete opposite of price momentum, I don't like it. I don't like it. I think it's that is too much of a mismatch. Your real trades, your real money is going to be made where everything's aligning. When your options flow and your price trend are doing the same thing, more so your price momentum than your price trend in this particular circumstance. The momentum's bullish, but our structure is now breaking down because the options are so weak. So when you have too many things like just being on opposite sides, like you just don't really have that good of an advantage. You don't have that good of an advantage. The Qs are hanging out at their intraday low while the SPY is pulled back 50%, seemingly at the support line. It'll be interesting to see if it can recapture 5650, where it's like bouncing. So the SPY is trying to be stronger while tech's trying to be weaker. It's just a messy situation. We are seeing lower highs and lower lows. We're seeing vol hold 21. VIX is holding 21. Kind of seemingly as of now, a bust of a day. What you could do, though, maybe there's going to be a good afternoon trade. You could watch this trend line on the SPY and obviously this established trend line that we've seen on the Qs this entire time. So maybe there's a bit of a reversal. Or on the flip side, if we break down, you might see enough of a breakdown that all these clouds, all these EMA clouds actually go red, agreeing with options. What I'm looking for is options flow to agree with price momentum. Right now, they're opposite. Options flow is down while price momentum's up. So because of that mismatch, it's tough to really decide what side you should be on. I think if you get it, congrats. But you're right now it's just playing with fire because just not that many things are aligning. I see all this positive price momentum, great, and then I see absolutely just nothing but bearishness in the options market. So you don't know who's going to win out. Is price momentum right? Are options flow right? Price structure was bullish, and now structure is kind of turning a little bit bearish. So just quite a bit of a mismatch, which is fine. Just wait. It sucks. Like, of course, we all love those big trending days, but we're just not getting that right now. So it is what it is. And actually, on that note, that's pretty much it on the day. I would say have that patience, wait for maybe something later this afternoon if we recapture that trend line or if everything truly does go south. But right now, like I said, just for the 19th time, price momentum is bullish, options flow is bearish. You got to wait for those to both align, either bullish or bearish, and then your odds are going to increase. And then, of course, at that point, you still don't trade unless you could get in with minimal risk. So that's pretty much where we are at. That's what I have for all you. I appreciate your vibes. Obviously, check out Public. If you use the link pinned to the top of chat in the description of the video, you're going to be starting off at a higher rebate tier. So highly recommend you guys checking all of that out. Cool opportunities with them. It is by far my favorite brokerage, my favorite place to trade options. I think you guys are going to like it as much as I do. So give it a whirl. Pinned to the top of chat in the description of the video. I'm going to go hang out in the Discord and just kind of wait around and try to not do any boredom trades and just see what in the world is going on with the market if we actually get a nice trend of the day, something that we could like functionally play off of. So I'm going to be waiting around that just to see what does or doesn't happen from here. So hope to see you in the Discord. We will be posting an update video tonight after the market closes, and then we'll be streaming once again tomorrow morning. Of course, don't forget to get on to Locals because you're going to get that free newsletter of all the major macroeconomic events, the earnings, the seasonality, all that stuff, 100% a freebie. So make sure to check that out. That's what I have for you. I appreciate all the good vibes. Remember, trading midday session, generally not worth it. Also, 100% not worth it when things are just not aligning. You want to catch those nice trends. Just you got to protect yourself from over trading. And right now, we're just not seeing a nice setup. Anywho, that's what I have for all of you. I appreciate the good vibes. I'll see you in the update video. And then once again, streaming tomorrow morning. I appreciate the good vibes. Love you all. Peace. Have a good one. Make a shitload of money.